2025. And we have some preliminaries here. We're going to start off with Mr. Hansard is going to lead us in the prayer.
Bow with me, please. Our dear most gracious Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this another day that you have given us. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this beautiful day and for all the things that you have given us. Dear Lord, we pray that you will continue to go with us, watch over us and pray for us, and continue to lead us in the way that you would have us to go, dear Lord. I pray that you would just go with us now and be with us as we continue to go through the rest of this school year. Amen.
Amen. So we are honoring the new Union basketball players and cheerleaders, but we're asking them if they would lead the pledge for us. So if everybody can stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We have our student ambassadors tonight, so I'd like to introduce them over here. Lucas Turner and Will Rogers. Ella Arnold is at a basketball game and could not join us, so we got an all-male crew tonight, so that's kind of unusual for us, so thanks for coming, guys. All right, so we do have recognition, so if you can get the crew up here, step up the microphone, and yeah, I believe, yes. So have everyone come on up because we're going to get your pictures too. Oh, no, they need the microphone now.
They can get a shot of all of them.
So if you can kind of introduce the team and what they've done here and what we're celebrating here, so that everybody here knows, and everybody, don't forget everybody in YouTube land is watching too, so.
Yes, so then we'll turn around after you introduce.
Do their names and everything? Is that what
You can, yes, we got time.
All right, so I didn't know speaking, so hello, thank you for this. So this is the boys at New Union and the girls at New Union and some cheerleaders. We had an undefeated season, the boys did, and we won the tournament championship, right? And do you want me to say their names?
You can. Yeah.
Okay. We have Easton Steele. Say their first and last or just first? Sorry.
Just, yeah, you can go through with their first
Okay.
and last name.
We have Easton. He's a fourth grader. Fifth grader, Aiden. Fourth, Sam. Fifth is Raylan. I'm sorry, fourth, my bad. He's our gentle giant. We have Cutler, fourth grade, and Wyatt is fourth grade. And
All
a
right.
couple others that are not here, so. But thank you for this, and the boys did amazing. They worked real hard. Dedication on and off the court. Also role models for the community, so nice job.
All right, thank you very much.
I'm Trista Gibson, fourth grade teacher also.
Okay.
I was not gonna say my name.
Yeah, we got- Yeah, sure, yes, absolutely.
And the cheerleaders, because she couldn't be here today. I'm Emily Tidwell, and I've coached the girls, and they did amazing. They're actually back-to-back championship girls, but I got Kenzie Wagner, Hannah Robinson, Peyton Trail, Paisley Levy, Annie Lawson, Winley Tomes. Those are some of my players. Oh, and Melania Bustamante. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then cheerleaders, we have, say it, because I always say it, Aislinn and Paisley.
You can't do it without the cheerleaders.
I know, you can't, yeah. But most of our players are in a play, and so they're at play practice. So, sorry.
All right, well, that's fine. We
Thank you.
appreciate one. If we can have have you guys turn around so they can get your picture back here.
Okay, we're gonna have this together.
You may need to line them up a little bit.
Okay. If you right here, if you'll scoot in just a little, sweet.
All right, very exciting and job well done. Thank you very much for. All right, so now we have our general call to order, and first up, do you have something, Dr. Powell? Yes. Do we have? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We got one more recognition here, so I got confused on that. I thought that was, so.
I'd like to ask
Dr.
Miss
Powell?
Tanya to come up, please.
So it's an honor to recognize two of our teachers at the Raider Academy. These two teachers, Coach Barlow and Caroline Crabtree, they saved a life a few weeks ago at the Raider Academy. They were quick to help a little girl that was choking at the Raider Academy, perform the Heimlich maneuver. And I was telling someone earlier, watching the video, I was thinking, this would be a perfect training video because they did it so well. And so it's just amazing to be able to stand up here and to say that two of our teachers, without hesitation, saved the life of one of our students. So we would like to take a moment to recognize them. The American Heart Association would also like to say thank you. It's a pleasure to honor you for acting so courageously and swiftly to offer life-saving aid. Today, many Americans feel helpless during an emergency because they do not know how to administer CPR or the Heimlich, or they are afraid of hurting the victim. We want to recognize heroes like yourselves that have stepped in to save a life. Thank you for performing the heroic acts of CPR and or the Heimlich maneuver, a critical link in our chain of survival. You have not only helped to save a life within your community, but you are also partnering with the American Heart Association to improve the survival rate of citizens who receive bystander CPR or Heimlich. So thank you so much, Coach Barlow and Caroline Crabtree.
Photobomb.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job, Robert. Not often we get a chance to save a life, so we really appreciate that. So. All right, now we have the call to order, and first up on the agenda is the principal report. So we have a few principals here. As arm wrestle to see who gets to go first or who gets to go last.
Right. We've got several things happening at middle school just happening this week. First is basketball. So our basketball boys and girls have made it to the subsectional tournament. They both won the area tournament that we hosted a couple weeks ago. So they will be playing tomorrow night, girls at 7 and boys at 8:15 at Stewart's Creek. So if you can, go out and support them. Really proud of their efforts. They've done a great job. Next week, we are hosting a Valentine's social for our kids. So that's something that's an after-school event that we do, and usually have a pretty big participation rate in that. So that'll be after school next Thursday, the 13th. At the end of the month, we are having our predictive benchmark assessments. That lets us know how well students are going to perform on TCAP, and so we're able to see what it predicts for our students and then how we are going to kind of react to that data. So we'll have some fluid groups and work that we'll do in our schedule to try to get kids where they need to be before the test in April. And then we've got track, softball, baseball, soccer, boys soccer, all that's happening. All those things are fixing to gear up, so plenty of sports opportunities to go and support those teams. And then the last thing, it's kind of hard to believe, but we're starting to talk about ninth grade registration with our eighth graders already. So that'll happen in the beginning of March. So several things happening in the spring semester. Any questions or anything for me? Okay, thank you.
At Deerfield, we finally got to celebrate have our academic pep rally to celebrate the excellence in academics and achievements and citizenship. This week is School Counselor Week, so we celebrated Miss Alicia Vaughn. We can't say thank you enough to her for all the things that she does for our school community and our children. On March 1st at 1 o'clock, the Ukulele Club will be performing at Kingwood Arms. That is directed by Miss Mary McCartney, and so they will be performing there. And we are in the process of organizing and asking permission to go to a school-wide field trip to the musical in Murfreesboro. And we also have our spring fling is scheduled for March 7th at 5 to 7 o'clock. So if you'd like to come see that, come out and visit us at March 7th at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. At the high school, currently, as always, we have many events going on. Sports for winter are wide open. And, you know, I know our student ambassadors are going to talk about those a little bit, as well as a couple of other events we have going on. I want to talk about a couple of academic things that are upcoming. So we will be giving the ACT to our junior class in mid-March. We do that on a yearly basis. And we'll be giving the pre-ACT to our sophomore class. We started last week, really started back with our ACT prep effort school-wide. We do that on Wednesdays during homeroom, and actually our seniors are exempt from that this semester, and that is because they have gone through 2 years of that, and most seniors at this point have finished taking the ACT. There are a handful that will take it another time or so, and we have opportunities for them. But we're really trying to focus in on prepping our sophomores and juniors for the ACT. We want to help them get the highest score they can by the time they graduate high school. Something new that we're doing at the high school, you all are probably somewhat familiar with the ASVAB. So the ASVAB is used primarily at the high school level because there is a career assessment attached to it. And so we have utilized that over the years. When we get those results back, we get the whole class into the theater. We share their individual results, not with all the students, but each student has their individual results, and we help them interpret those. We have a meeting in the theater to do that. And it gives them some ideas as to, based upon the questions they've answered, what good careers might be for them. Well, something that we've decided we're going to start doing, and I really appreciate our AFJ ROTC instructors for suggesting this, and they're going to take this on. Colonel Janice, our newest instructor, and he's our senior instructor, he suggested that we do some ASVAB prep. We just never have done it. I don't hear of other schools doing it. Maybe they do, but I've just not heard about it. You know, all of our students don't necessarily need a certain score on the ASVAB, but students that have any interest in the military do. And so we're going to be working with them on a weekly basis during homeroom on Tuesdays. Colonel Janice and Sergeant Lazarus, our AFJ ROTC instructors, are taking that on. It will be on a voluntary basis as far as who participates, but we really feel like it'll help that group of students. There are some of them that they're really, you know, they're shooting for a certain score because they want to go into the military, at least want that to be an option. So we're glad for them doing that. Finally, I want to mention, and I don't know if these guys were going to mention it or not, but we've got a big night on Friday night at the high school. We've got 3 events going on at once. And so the parking might be interesting. I'll give you a heads up on that. But we're hosting Warren County for basketball. Those are district ball games for our girls and boys varsity teams. And expect a large crowd. We always have a large crowd for that game. But our Beta Club, at the very same time, will be hosting a fundraiser, and it's a chili cook-off. And that will be in our cafeteria. So there will be tickets sold for that separately. You know, you can purchase a ticket for that, and you can try all sorts of varieties of chili. And, you know, there'll be a winner name for that cook-off as well. So there are people not only paying to, you know, taste all the chili, but there are people that are paying to, you know, actually enter their chili in the cook-off. And then finally, on Friday night, we are the site for North Coffee Elementaries. And Mr. Clark's not able to be here tonight, but North Coffee Elementary is having a musical at our school this weekend. That's on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and then Sunday afternoon. And my understanding is it's high school musical. So we're going to have lots of signage at the high school on Friday night to direct people to the entrance that they need to go to. But we're looking forward to all of that. So that's all I have.
You end up with the people eating chili in the auditorium, right?
Right. I guess you can eat some chili, go in for a little bit of a musical, and then catch a ball game.
There you go. All right.
Any questions for me? Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Parsley. What's that?
Ms. Potts, did she leave?
I guess. All right. So thank you for the principal report. We don't have any public comment here, so we are now calling for intent. So this is we need to pass the general consent items, approve the minutes, and one change to the agenda. Item number 5, which is the resolution on the Educational Freedom Act, is going to be struck because it is moot at this point because the legislature has already voted on it. So any resolution we would put out there would not be relevant at this point. So we're just going to strike that from the agenda. So I need a motion to approve the general consent items.
So moved.
Mr. Gilly? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion on that? Everything fine on the consent agenda? All right, let's take a vote, and we'll start with Mr. Kuhn.
Aye.
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 And I will vote aye. And, Ms. Hodge. Jennifer.
Aye.
All right, I'll get it right. All right, so the agenda is approved. So now we will move on to the action items. Item number 1 on the agenda is a revision to Director Qualifications Policy 5.802, and that is in the packet, but the only change there that we made, and this was from the December Director Search Committee meeting. The only change we made there is to strike line 1, which requires a professional educator's license. Now, just a reminder that state state law only requires a bachelor's degree for a director. So, so we felt that requiring a professional educator's license might, reduce our pool. So that was the only, everything else is staying the same on that particular policy. And that was discussed in December. I should have had it on the January agenda, but I did not. So here it is. So I would need a motion to approve this policy and dispense with the second reading. Would that be correct, Mr. Shores? Since we normally do 2 readings on policies, we would have to dispense with the second reading to approve this?
You would have, if you're wanting to do it only on 1 reading, then that probably needs to be part of the motion.
Yes.
That is given, yes.
Yes, all right. So we would need a motion to adopt this change to policy 5.802 and dispense with and do it on 1 motion. Do I have a motion to approve such a motion? No motion? Going once, going twice, okay. That policy changes or fails then on lack of motion. Let us move on to agenda item 2, which is the policy committee.
Okay, before you move on, can you explain what this will stay in effect, that a professional educator's license is required?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So with the understanding that if
Right,
somebody's
since it
retired.
didn't pass.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
so,
wanted to make that clear.
all right. All right, the next item on the agenda is reorganization of the policy committee, and the proposal here is to basically take, right now, it's made up of an equal number of board members and principals, and this would be to just change it so that it is, the principals would act an advisory role. We're not voting them out, I guess, but they would act as an advisory role, and the board members would be the voting members of that committee. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
there's 4 members of the board on the policy committee from the board, 3 administrators.
Okay.
So right now, there's more board members on the policy committee than there are principals.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that was a correction.
Okay. So that is as constituted right now. So,
That's what it is set up as of
Right.
right now.
okay.
And the chair is,
I'm the chair, and I'm not a voting member, or whenever it comes to it.
All right.
I think
So-
also, Mr. Ballard, a couple of things. As you well know, as you said there, this did not go before the policy committee because it was something that board felt like needed to be changed. I've had principals to touch base with me about it, and their concern was the voting situation. I didn't, not having been to a policy meeting, I didn't realize there was any voting taking place, but that's neither here nor there. But they were concerned about initially thinking they would be left out of the policy committee, so that if the policy was changed in some way or the other, that at least they would have some information available as to how it might have an effect upon their school, or the school day, or the school setting. So as long as they stay in there, I think we'll be fine with it. And I'm not sure about the voting. We've got a 4-3 now, but
Yeah.
that's the board's decision to make on it.
Yeah, although that could change depending on the number of board members that sign up for the policy committee. So I guess, the point is that, and I guess we're kind of getting into the discussion portion, but
Right.
the point is that you would not remove, the principals need to be there as advisors because this stuff affects them. So that's important. Nobody's suggesting that, so.
And of
with
course,
this
as you
change-
well know, whatever comes out of the committee comes
Yeah.
back to the full board for
Right.
their,
But it's, and
Approval or
quite
disapproval.
frankly, I went back and I researched, I talked to Mr. Barton, and I went back and looked, and there's no policy on this, and nobody knows how this, the constitution of the policy committee came to be, so, but since it is the board's duty to make policy.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of where the change is proposed, so. So-
Thank you.
Well, there needs to be an official record of how this is supposed to be manned and handled, at least, if we don't know how or how it was set up and any kind of constitution or policy of it or not, we at least need a motion to either do this or not do this, but clarify who the chair should be, how many members from the board, how many members from the system. I would think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Did we not talk about this at a meeting before? I don't think we did we?
No,
No,
no. So,
Probably a good idea to bring it up at a work session and talk about it at a work session, wouldn't it?
we could.
I mean, I think it's very important that all board members are aware
I'm ready
and
to make a
knowledgeable of
motion
every
if
policy.
I'd like to make a motion. If it passes, it passes. It don't, it don't.
Okay, so Mr. Gilly makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Well,
What's the
you wanna hear-
motion?
What
Yeah.
we voting on? I don't know.
I would like to move that
Yeah.
we officially name the policy committee with 4 board members, 3 school members,
Okay,
with voting rights, but the chair be named from one of the board members.
okay, that's different than what I mentioned, but that's fine.
Because I believe that is one of the 2 things that we are really charged as board members to do, set policy for this system and hire and fire directors. That is our 2 main things in state law we're required to do. And I think the chairman
And the budget.
should come.
Budget's in the top 3 too.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we're not in discussion yet.
Right,
but-
right.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right, Robert. I'm sorry.
So the motion would be to
Officially set the policy committee as 4 board members, 3 members from the school system that could be picked by the director of schools, who those members would be on there, but the chairmanship would be covered by a board member.
okay. So the motion is to compose the policy committee of 4 board members, 3 principals, and and who would be the chairman?
The board
One
member.
of the board members.
A board member would be chairman, okay. All
Let me
right.
see if I have this. Right. Motion to officially change the policy committee to 4 board members, 3 school system employees to be picked out by the director of schools and name the new chairman that is a member of the school board.
Yes,
That-
that's the way I took it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the way I said it. I think.
All right,
pretty close. All right, so Mr. Gilly makes that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Ms. Jones seconds it. Do we have any discussion?
Now,
I
Terry.
believe on that, one important factor would be that minutes would need to be kept of that meeting and made, as a public record. That way, everybody has a clue what's being said.
And if I can I speak? I think that is a great point. I think minutes are already taken by someone else, I do believe.
I have been taking
Right.
minutes on the policy
The
committee.
secretary
All right.
takes the minutes.
Okay.
And then we also still have either the recording or the recording and video, depending on what happens in a later agenda item.
The next meeting,
Is that something we want to make part of the motion, that we take minutes and that you record it? Because typically we don't record the, committee meetings.
Yeah, we've been
Well,
broadcasting,
we've been videoing them,
Yeah.
but they're still on the YouTube. They're still there as technically recorded.
but if it changes,
It'd still be videoed. everything
Yeah,
would
if
be-
it changes, we'll have to
everything be videoed.
readdress that. So that probably don't need to be a part of this motion, just a fact that we come back to make sure that minutes are taken, depending on what happens later on in the agenda.
so what are we gonna do?
So I think we still stay with our original motion here, just to set the committee.
Okay,
You're already gonna be there.
okay.
Meanwhile, if there's an issue, depending on what happens later tonight, we'll know if we need to have an action item soon or not.
Well, it's discussion time.
Yes,
My,
it is.
my point is that every board member should be aware of all the policy changes that are being made, and I know in the past, there's been times when they've just been passed in the consent agenda, and unless a board member takes the time to actually look and see what's changed, it just automatically goes, and that's our charge, is to make sure that policy is good and best for our school system, and maybe this way, we'll make sure that every board member understands the changes in the policy.
It kind of forces the board members to be more involved in it, other than a few days before the committee meeting getting redlined policies, which that is a task because we're charged with that every year of reviewing every single policy. So there is a lot of legwork that is done before it gets to board members or even the policy committee, but
That's what my list is.
meetings just might not be as fast.
Mr. Chairman, I'm kind of being somewhat facetious right now, but when the board and the administration starts looking at policies, you might need to prepare lunch and dinner, because seriously, it's going to be, there's a lot of new policies that need to be reviewed, and then there's a lot that need to be made, so it's not going to be just an hour session. I'm just kind of putting you on.
Could be the double-edged sword that I'm speaking
Yes,
of here.
just kind of putting you on standby that there's several policies that probably need to be changed, that Mr. Shores and I have gotten, or some of the principals have come up with, that might need to be changed, but it's going to be a tedious process to get all those done. You can't get them all done, I don't think, before school's out this year, to be honest with you.
Right.
Just have to look at the ones that are most important, I think. But I agree with Mr. Gilly. I think the 4-3 setup is going to be extremely good, and I think the principals will feel good about that setup.
That gives everybody a voice, yes, so. Any further discussion? So, how would you like to see it on having everybody be able to review the policies before they show up on the consent agenda?
Well, I mean,
You're on
it's
the policy
sent to
committee
them.
though, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But that'd be probably something we could decide how we make sure that it's shared, because, it's important.
I think that could also, going back to Mr. Hansard's request on a work session, we probably need, which we're kind of booked up here for the next little while, but we probably do need to sit down at some point and discuss how quickly we get any information we're to consider, even for work sessions or everything else, which Miss Melissa does great. And I think we have a 5-day time period there, but we every little bit helps. The quicker we can get our ducks in a row of what's happening, and we could, extend that to say a 10-day window. Gives more time for preparation.
If we could possibly do that just for policy,
Yeah.
changes, then maybe
So
that
we
gives
could
everybody a
definitely,
time to
that'd
review it.
definitely be a work session
It
thing to
would.
throw out there of how the timeliness and things of that
Yeah,
nature.
so,
Right.
all right, that might be, I know that's not part of the, all right, so we have a motion on the floor to fix the policy committee at voting members, 4 board, 3 admin, I guess we would say. What did we say? Yeah.
School system employees.
Yeah.
3
So
school
he-
system
yeah.
employees appointed by the director, and the chairman be a board member.
Make it a competition.
All right. So, so, ready to vote. Mr. Gilly,
Aye.
Ms. Inch,
Aye.
Mr. Hansard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Hodge,
Aye.
Mr. Kuhn,
Aye.
and the chair will vote aye. So, we had that motion passes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 to nothing, right? 7 to nothing, that's right, sorry. All right. The next item up is proposal to change the live streaming of meetings to board meetings only. Right now, we are live streaming on video to YouTube, board meetings, committee meetings, and work sessions. And so we have a proposal to change that back to live streaming of board meetings only, and then record committee meetings just on audio that would be archived and accessible to the public that way. So that is the proposal, as I understand it. So I would, unless there's some further clarification on that, I would entertain a motion for that.
I make that motion.
Okay, Ms. Jones, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Yinch seconds that. All right. So the motion is to change our live streaming of meetings to board meetings only and do audio recordings of committee meetings and work sessions only. So, discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Gilly.
We have two options, I think. It's either that, or we're gonna have to come up with a pay scale to pay the technicians that make sure that this happens for the video and everything, every meeting, every single committee meeting, every work session, and that's a chunk. So we need to weigh money or this. At least with this, there is record, there is audible record, whether it's not video or not. There is record that can't be misleading. Otherwise, I mean, I don't have a personal preference either which way, but we're either going to have to come off some money or do this.
Yeah, it's very time consuming for Mr. Damewood, and I'm sure he's gonna do whatever we ask, I'm sure. But it's setting up these mics in every meeting, it's time consuming. The Tullahoma City Schools do not do their committee meetings live streaming, and neither does Manchester City Schools. And I think, we didn't realize what all entailed in doing everything live video.
He's probably an hour before and an hour after, and we have some lengthy meetings.
Yeah.
And then he has to-
I don't think, like the last time we were here, a lot of us assumed, what you don't do, and I did it too, that we assumed that he was getting paid for this, and he is not. And I think that was one of the things that we all backed up and punted on, is we didn't realize that Mr. Damewood was not getting paid for this,
And-
Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
And we are here sometimes, and we've got a lot more work sessions that we've got to iron out. We've got a lot going on, obviously, and so I agree with Mr. Gilly and Miss Frida as well. We didn't realize what we were getting into whenever we just assumed and shouldn't have.
At least everything's recorded.
Yeah, and that's,
Exactly.
and I would not suggest anything like this unless everything was recorded and on record, and any citizen can come and listen to the video recording, whatever.
I would say that I was kind of ambivalent on this before, but I got a number of constituents got a hold of me, and other folks, including the teacher that tuned into our work session the other day and caught the cell phone presentation, and we got a very nice email from her and stuff. She wouldn't have seen that if it hadn't been on video. So I went back and I actually reviewed the videos and to see how many people were watching these things, and actually our best one was a board meeting on November 11th. We had 323 people have watched that. The second most is 262 on our November 21st work session, and the most recent work session was 236 people. So we've had pretty much over 100 people. Our view counts have been pretty much over 100 people. Even the after-school committee last Friday had 112 people that have watched it. So I'm seeing a substantial number of people and watching this, and I guess I would advise against it. I would, I think that with that many people watching these videos and getting something out of it, I think we should probably continue with the live streaming.
Well, and one more thing is, and I just thought of this, director interviews. If we're doing interviews in here, do we live stream those?
Yeah.
Because 95% of our personnel or constituents can't attend. At times, we're probably doing interviews.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak on that one?
Sure.
If you do those and you do a live interview or put it on, then the person that's going to interview the next week or the next day can watch and know all the questions and all the answers of the person before.
Good point.
So you got to be careful there.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Very good point. Yeah. So we may not. Yeah. So we may not want to do that. So very good point.
Yeah.
What if we,
Thank you
Scratch
for
that from the record, please.
Make sure that makes the minutes, right?
what if we did the work session and didn't do the committees?
Well, I think the work sessions and the board meetings, of course, the board meetings, state law, but I believe the work sessions ought to be videoed because, just that covers the transparency. We're not trying to hide anything. I think all of our constituents and the employees of the school system, a lot of them look into the work sessions along with the board meetings. I think it'd be good to at least still live stream the work sessions also.
And I got some pretty strong statements from folks that supported keeping it. So
I have no problem with transparency. Anything I've got to say, I don't care who hears it. And, but I think sometimes you can go a little bit too far with things because sometimes it gets to be a dog and pony show. Because there was a Facebook put on our Coffee County School website that was not from any of us. It was clips of a board meeting and clips of a committee meeting, and it was the only thing that was on there was a discussion of the furniture. So, I mean, what is the purpose of someone getting online on Facebook doing that? It's like we're on trial.
Well, but
For
that's
everything
also.
we do, and whoever did that.
Well, but that's also in today's world. That's live.
But in today's world, Manchester City is not streaming their committee meetings, and neither is Tullahoma City or Warren County or anyone else. And I think that we're doing a service to the community by doing ours. And I'm for board work sessions included. That's good, but I think we're going a little too far when we drag Mr. Damewood up here and set up all these microphones and go through all the
Right.
steps of getting everything ready, and then you have the meeting, and then he's got to take it all down, and it's just a little bit too much, especially since it's being recorded.
Yeah, that's where I was just we either need to compensate for the project or streamline the project.
I would agree if we continue in any way we need to. Oh, Jennifer, yes.
Can I speak? I'm sorry, I don't know how well y'all can hear me. I was a really big advocate of putting our meetings on YouTube, and I don't feel like it would be right of me to go back on that because I go watch them myself. I'm a busy mom. Obviously, I'm at home right now, and I can't always come, and I do better seeing them than I do listening. So that being said, I do think that Mr. Damewood should be compensated for his extra time. So can we set something up to where we continue to film all our meetings and then just pay him?
The motion that is, you'd have to make a different motion, but the motion that's on the floor right now is to discontinue committee and work discontinue live streaming of anything but the board meetings. That is the motion that's on the floor right now. So
I wish people would come to the meeting or could come to the meetings, but they can't or won't, but they're watching them, so I hate to take that away.
I firmly believe Mr. Deanwood needs to be compensated in some way for doing this. I would throw my hat in that ring.
One other reason why we did this is because we do talk about security things in the schools. We don't want to talk, we don't want them to be public, obviously, about what we're doing as far as our security and things like that. So that was another reason that, but we could do them in committee meetings and I mean, that's kind of my recommendation, is to meet halfway and do the board meetings and the work sessions, and maybe not do the committee meetings.
Because in a lot of instances, a board meeting follows, a call board meeting sometimes follows a work session, so that would, all work together.
How easy is it going to be to get a hold of that recording afterwards? What do they have to go through to find the recording, to get the recording?
An audio recording?
Yeah.
Just be on the website, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on our website.
Okay.
With
So
all the
it's
other
not going to be
meeting-
difficult to get a hold
It'll
of?
be there with all the other meeting
Okay.
information.
So it'd be posted
Recordings
Already,
already.
That's what I was
yeah.
saying.
Older
Okay.
ones,
We've
when
always
we
done
just
that.
did recording,
Okay.
you can go back and see those now in the archive and everything. They're online now. So none of the committee meetings, the way I'm understanding it, none of the committee meetings would change. The motion on the table, work sessions would be added with them. It'd just be audible only.
We'd have to modify if we included work sessions to continue, we'd have to modify the motion.
But right now, the motion stands as work sessions and committees would go to audible only.
Right, yes.
And they would be archived on our website.
Right.
And board meetings are the only thing that are fully live streamed.
I just want to make a point so everybody's clear on what you're asking. When we're talking about the recording at those meetings, we're talking about the little baby recorder that you put, so the audio quality is listenable, but it's not great. I mean, if we're going to make it sound like it does now, then you
You're
got to
still
set up
gonna
all
have
these mics anyway, or you guys got to sit up there, and we still got to do the same thing. So I just want you to be sure of what you're getting. You're not getting this type of audio. You're getting a little recorder that's sat in the middle of you, and it'll be not great. It'll be, like a stenographer or some kind of dictation, like a doctor would send to somebody to dictate. It's going to be that kind of audio. Just wanted to make sure you were clear on that fact.
Mr. Damon, do you know if Manchester City Schools do audios of their committee meetings too?
I don't know. She asked if do they do audio recordings for the committee meetings at City?
No, ma'am, we do not record any of them, board meetings or work sessions.
All right, the motion that is on the floor is to go to live streaming of board meetings only.
Can I amend my
You,
motion?
it's your motion, you can
Okay,
amend it.
I can amend it to include the work sessions.
Can I second that?
It could be a friendly amendment
amendment.
if both of the motion and the second, which would be Ms. Jones and Ms. Inch, both agree to do that, then it'd be just a friendly amendment and you just move on with it.
Yeah,
If not, if both don't, and you want to make an amendment, then you have to get a second on the amendment and then vote on the amendment.
One day I want to talk about the friendly amendments. I've never heard of
Yeah.
having to agree with an amendment.
yeah, Beth, do you agree to make that
I
amendment?
make that friendly amendment.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Mr. Shores. All right. So the motion that is on the floor now with the amendment is to continue to live stream board meetings and work sessions and not stream and go to audio only on committee meetings. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right.
I think that's a better step if we're going to do anything other than what we're doing, because when we have committee meetings, we're not spread out. And even if we have the recording right in the middle, it's a lot easier because we're not spread out. We're usually sitting in a U shape all around the circle anyways. So as long as we got some kind of digital record, whether it be audio or audio and video, I'm okay.
Further discussion?
I think, Miss Jennifer, did you have something?
Yeah. Jennifer? No? All right. Are we ready to vote? Then, Ms. Yench,
I'm going to vote aye on that.
Mr. Hansard,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Hodge,
No.
Mr. Kuhn,
No.
and Mr. Gilly.
Aye.
And the chair votes no, so that passes 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it does not pass. Oh, yes, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It does not pass. Do I have that correct? We 1, 2,
That is
3,
correct.
4 ayes and 4 noes. No, 3 noes.
3 notes.
Yeah. So 4 to 3. What's that?
5 yeses to pass.
Because
So-
just
Right.
because Ms. Matthews and Mr. Cordell is not here, they count as a no vote in this situation. So they have to be here to vote yes. If either way, it's the majority of the entire board, not just the ones that's here.
Right, that is correct. So the motion would fail then. Okay. Item number 4, Wold Services, high school, new doors and interior partitions. Mr. Shores, I assume that's yours?
Yes. Okay, back at December, no, I'm sorry, I said December, but it was actually the October 3rd Capital Projects Committee. This was on our agenda about the doors at the high school. In 1975, 76, when the high school was built, it was built on a open floor plan so that there's no doors for a lot of the classrooms. And some of the doors, actually, you have to walk through the classroom to get to the second classroom. That's how the high schools ran for 50-something years, and that's where we are today. This actually was brought up, like I said, at that time, and this was also a point of contingence with Homeland Security. Noticed it and talked to us about it as well, and would like to see it changed. There was 2 different ways of looking at it. In the 2 different ways, one was actually just putting a door at the classroom with basically a partition with that door going into that classroom. And then the second one would be as well. But the problem that you run into with that setup is somebody's in that back classroom, they will have to exit 2 doors to get outside to go to the restroom. Then the doors are locked behind them. And to get back into the classroom to that second one, they would have to knock on the first door, get a student to come and unlock it, go to the second door, knock on it. They would then a student get up, unlock it to let them in to be able to get back to their classroom. So as we were talking to the Homeland Security, Jason came up with, go ahead and put a corridor, and then with that corridor, and you have the hallway, then you would have the ability to go straight into the classroom, either one of them, without bothering the class itself. This is a safety issue as well, because we want to make it so that if we had somebody come into our building, they wouldn't have access to our classrooms. So the committee decided that there was another discussion, but they decided to come to the board about adding doors, actual doors to classrooms. And at that time, if we make any of those type changes, of course, we're going to have to add in walls Walls is going to create the possibility of changing sprinkler systems, going to have supports for the doors, and that's where we come into with needing architectural and engineering designs. And since we're working with Wold, I reached out to Wold and asked them what it would to get this ball started. And the letter that you have, there was 2 letters on there, and the first one came in prior to, and then the last one was an update to it. And Wold is actually here to answer any questions, but they gave us some budgetary numbers, as well as their services with a max number on it, working off an per hour type setup. But that's where we are, so I'm bringing it to you as far as our next step would be basically contracting with Wold to do architectural and engineering design work for us to move to the next stage, which would be putting out to bid, because we would have to have this information before we could actually go to bid. So that's where we are, is basically, do we want to move forward with the architectural and engineering design for the high school to receive doors at all the classrooms that do not have doors at this time?
All right, so.
Is April, is this in our budget for this year?
Oh,
So we would have to do an amendment to our budget to do this, right?
Yes, this is not in our budget. This would have to be a budget amendment.
all right, do we have what are we looking to approve here, Mr. Shores?
Right now, the motion would need to be something down the line of moving forward with the project with Wold on doing the architectural engineering design work. Now, they did provide us with budgetary numbers, and so you're able to look at that. Number 1 is the budgetary numbers on just adding doors and filling in the open the open areas of where those doors are located now. There's no doors, but it's opening. So it'd be filling that in and taking also care of any kind of fire marshal needs that would be with the sprinklers and that type of need. The number 2 is the budgetary numbers for them to come up with, the budgetary numbers dealing with adding hallways, and with those hallways, then putting doors off of those hallways. That's, I think, the preferred, Mr. Parsley, direction that you would like to go, or the high school, I think, would like to have, is that direction, and you can definitely talk for yourself on it, but that's the way I've understood you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and, but it is gonna be a lot more costly for the job. These budgetary numbers, I wanted to provide those to you so that you knew what we were looking at if you decided to get more information from the architectural engineering design. I mean, if you're not wanting to look at those numbers, then we don't need to go with them doing any kind of design. And if we didn't have those numbers, then you wouldn't have that information. So be thinking, if you vote continue, we're looking at this kind of numbers to do the construction.
So we're looking at approving tonight the $60,000 not to exceed?
Not to exceed $60,000, architectural and engineering design.
Right.
From Wold.
But their recommendation.
And they are here to speak
Yeah.
if you've got any questions.
There's a lot of variables dealing with this type of project. We're not sure what the HVAC changes would be. We're not sure about fire alarm. We're not sure about sprinkler system. So what I propose to Mr. Shores is we have do it on an hourly basis, not to exceed $60,000. That way, if we don't do if we find out we can do it half that amount, you pay us what we worked on. You don't pay us for the entire amount. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna bring it up here so you can use it.
Okay.
Thank you.
But that's why I decided to go with the hourly not to exceed. And I talked to Mr. Shores about it. I think you would experience some savings with that fee structure. The one of them is just adding a few doors and extending some walls. The other one is adding corridors to the exterior, subdividing the spaces into actual classrooms. I'm going to tell you how old I am because I worked at Yearwood and Johnson when they did this type of school, high school, and it was called Team Teaching Open Plan, which never, ever worked.
Yeah.
It never did. And so I was kind of familiar with, because I worked on one over in Putnam County, just like Coffee County, when I was right out of school. But it doesn't work. Now, item number 2 is the one that would solve a lot of those functional issues and create classrooms, separate classrooms where teachers can teach, and it'd help the educational environment. The other one is just adding a few doors and a few walls to meet code. So, any questions?
How much of the school, or I guess classrooms, are we talking about for these numbers, bringing, or, doing?
How many classrooms we'll be creating?
24.
Well, I mean, the classrooms are already there, but how much of the existing classrooms are we talking about doing for this amount of
24
of money?
Mr. Chairman, you need to get a motion and a second before
Right,
discussion. Just that's normal.
So the motion, we would need a motion to approve the $60,000 fee of not to exceed $60,000 fee for Wold for this architectural work.
Now that includes everything: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, engineering, fire alarm, everything.
Do we have to approve it to talk about it? Can we make a motion just to talk
Well,
about it before we?
Motion and a discussion.
It's gonna cost us $60,000 to talk about it.
No, you gotta have a motion and a second to discuss it, and then you just vote it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion,
Okay, Ms. Jones.
not to exceed 60,000.
Yes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Hodge seconds. All right, now discussion. So let it rip.
I want to know the safety issues. I mean, this open classroom that we have now, are we able to lock our kids down if we have a problem?
Okay, I probably need to answer that one. There's no doors. There was about 6 or 7 years ago, there were some glass doors that was put in at the start of the subject area. If we had, right now the law states that you're supposed to have your doors locked to your classroom. Well, there's no door going into the classroom. And to lock those doors, at the glass doors, I'm talking about this going into that subject area, then whenever a student leaves to go to the restroom and comes back, they're not able to get back into the classroom area. Also, once that door is unlocked, if it stays locked, let's say it's unlocked, whoever comes to that glass door then has access
Start with Mr. Hansert.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Ms. Hodge.
Aye.
Mr. Coon.
Aye.
Mr. Gidley.
Aye.
Ms. Yinch.
Aye.
And the chair will vote aye, so that passes 7-0. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, no safety issues, so we're, got the mic back on.
Well, just because we'll start developing the design for the best possible scenario, and we'll cost it, we'll estimate it as we progress. So if we reach a point, we come back and report to you that it's gonna cost this much. This is probably the worst case scenario, but we really don't know what that mechanical system is and the fire alarm system and electrical, how it would impact that. We have an idea and we had to do allowances for it. But just because you accept this fee doesn't mean we have to do everything or build everything at one point in time, because I think they'll overlap. I think we'll be adding doors to address the safety issue only, and then we'll be doing, enhancing the functionality of all the school, the entire school.
Mr. Chair, I would also like to ask if the Wold folks could potentially touch base with the safety committee. That is a closed door setting, and touch base with some things, because there's a lot of people in that committee that I guarantee you would have a lot of.
We'll be glad to, but as Jacob said, we'd like to meet with the principal and staff at the high school and meet with that committee and keep everybody in the loop.
We just went through that and had great discussions about some things, and it'd be good the two teams to come together now.
Yeah.
I believe.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair, before we move on, I have some questions about, and that's the only thing that is stumping me about previous action that we have taken. The action was taken. I don't believe we cleaned up the original motion. We just voted on the amendment
For
the previous action item, on the recording of the meetings.
Well,
We did not vote on the original meeting, and I do not believe that the vote was taken proper on the first one until, Robert's Rules of Order, policy 1.405, only references Robert's Rules of Order, which if you have a quorum, the majority rules, unless stated otherwise in our bylaws. If those bylaws could be produced to show that.
I'm just, what I stated, and I think Mr. Ballard has stated, is what TSBA, Robert Rules of Order, told me whenever I went to their training. I mean, that's up to the board and what y'all decide.
Just clarification on that, but I still do not believe that we cleared up the original motion. We never voted on the original motion, and I just want that on the record.
Okay. I believe our policy says we have to have a quorum that votes, no matter how many members we have. We have a quorum, but it has to
To
pass.
do business. You must have a quorum to do business in Robert's Rules of Order.
Right, but I mean to pass.
The general rule is the majority of the quorum can do business, the majority rules, unless stated otherwise in your bylaws. If your bylaws require to have a majority of all members, then it takes a majority of your complete board to win a motion.
I thought we had a policy on that.
No, it was 4 and 3.
If it was 4 and 4, the motion failed.
It is 4 and 3, 4 and 3 against. And
4
then
yea,
2 that was
3
here.
nay.
So what that's actually saying is anything we vote on tonight, if it's 4 and 3, it fails.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Well, so Ms. Matthews, since she's not here, that doesn't count as a no vote?
Counts as a no vote.
I see, that's where I have the issue with. If you're not at the meeting, you don't have a vote for or against.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Once again, that's what I heard from TSBA whenever I went to the Robert's Rules of Order. Mr. Chairman, that's going to be for your
I'm
decision.
looking for our particular policy on that. And
1.405.
what's that?
1.405. I'm sure that these questions and concerns can be answered, other than
Not the one I was-
actual vote on the original motion. We only voted on the amendment.
But
The
we
way
did a
I
friendly
understood it, you had a
amendment.
friendly amendment that the
Changed it.
two, which was Ms. Jones asked for the friendly amendment.
Yes.
And Ms. Yench, did you agree to that friendly amendment? And she's saying yes. So the friendly amendment went to the motion itself, and it became part of that motion because the two that made the motion in the second did the friendly amendment. So then it went to a vote with the friendly amendment, part of it because it's taken care of, and then you know what the vote was.
That's my understanding, but
What I'm thinking is, if you're not here, that you shouldn't have a yes or no vote. I mean, why would it automatically be a no? It could automatically be a yes. I mean, that just, I don't know
Well,
where
I
we're
think
getting
what-
this.
I think what
And if
Mr.
it's the-
Shores is
If it's the
saying-
rules, it's the rules, but.
in Tennessee, an abstention counts as a no vote, but I don't
So
know.
we can't do
Technically, if
business.
they're not
So
here,
really,
that's not an
If we
abstention.
have a 4-3 vote on anything tonight, we're not doing any business.
Right.
If it was in the bylaws and it says
And we have
the
quorum here, but
majority
we
of the
can't do
board.
business.
I'm not
I
finding
think we
that-
can move on, but we probably need some sort of clarification and possible
When a formal
cleaning
vote is
up of
taken on any
action
question, a decision shall be made on the basis of a majority of the membership of the board, which would be,
Where's he at?
5. That would be a quorum. Am I reading that correctly?
1.405.
There it is.
Number
Lines 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Not the majority of the
Membership of the board.
membership present, is that,
Okay. You clarified that.
all right, I'm just,
Now, do we vote on the original motion? Or this friendly stuff cleared up?
well, the way I understand it, and I might be doing it wrong, and I could be stand corrected, is that if there's a friendly amendment made and both the person making the amendment and the person seconding it agree, then that basically takes the place.
Changes the original motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that correct, Mr. Shores?
That's the way I understand it, yes.
I mean, that is my understanding. We don't have any policy on that particular, so that goes back to Robert's Rules of Order. And I don't have my copy with me, so.
I got it up and
Look
it's,
in your desk drawer.
goes
What's
to
that?
bylaws then,
Oh,
if
yeah.
required, but I think we only have one more
1.45.
thing on the agenda, so
Yeah,
this will be the earliest
well,
we got
the
out of
last
here.
item up is,
So before we move on, so what do I put as the vote? 4-3 or 4-4?
it would be 4-3,
4-3.
because there's 7 people here. There was 4 yeas and 3 noes, and the majority of the board would be 5, so
So it
it would
failed.
fail by that.
Okay, I just
So
But the question
all of it failed.
is, should we have voted on the original motion and then the amendment, or should we have voted on the amendment and then go back to vote on the original motion?
Either which way, because of the numbers on the first one, then it reverted back. There wasn't an amendment to the first one because you didn't have the majority of your board voting.
Right, it failed.
So it failed.
Yeah,
So you still have to clear up your first motion. And if it was 4-3, it would fail. But
that's not how I understand a friendly amendment, but I could be wrong on that.
it's okay. It was gonna be the same result either which way,
Yeah,
I think, probably.
well, Well, I appreciate the technicality, but,
Well, we gotta make sure.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. We gotta have it right, and we got kind of a weird situation with, several people missing tonight, so.
Yes.
All right, are we clear to move on to budget update? All right, Ms. Nelson.
So I hope you have the revised copy because there was issue with some of percentages on the copy that was originally in the folder. And then this afternoon I placed a new copy in the folder, or Ms. Westmoreland placed a new copy in the folder. So I hope you have the correct one that you're looking at.
There is
It should be called revised.
revised budget update as
That's
of
correct.
2/4/25.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Okay. For December, we received $8.8 million in revenue. 4.5 of that was from the state, 4.2 was from local. So majority of the revenue for December was from state. That brought us to 50.96% of budget. And then year-to-date last year, we were at 48.87, so a little ahead of budget from last year for revenues. And then down in the expenditure, we used $4 million of the budget, which was 40.38% compared to last year of 41.69%. So a little behind last year. Budget's on track. I think you'll start seeing some budget amendments come to start cleaning some things up in the future meetings. But as of right now, I don't have anything that in the budget to talk about. Everything seems to be going on track. I'll gladly take questions if you have them, though.
We need a motion to approve the revised budget update
So
as of
moved.
2/4/25.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Gilly,
I'll second it.
Mr. Hansert. Any discussion then?
Yes. Ms. April, did we ever move the budget, move the money around from the lights, the athletic lights?
No, so that's still in the restricted fund balance. We haven't done anything with that yet.
Okay.
So that'll have to be through a budget amendment, and that hasn't happened yet.
We should have, I believe Mr. Shores is going to give us an update tonight on where we are in capital projects. So, and I believe that there's going to be some financial information that's going to be attached to that discussion.
I think if that's the information I gave Dr. Powell, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we were kind of the status of all our capital projects, so, but that would be during the director's
That'll be
discussion.
during-
So it was kind of like
Okay.
kind of like a spending report of everything we've spent so far,
Right,
Okay.
and
And
then
what we have, yeah.
kind of the upcoming projects
Yeah.
that I currently know about and things that have been discussed.
right.
Thank you.
That's kind of what I put together a couple of
Thank
days
you.
ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's coming up. Any other discussion on the budget amendment?
Update.
All right.
Update.
Budget update.
Budget, yeah, I'm sorry, budget amendment, budget update.
We haven't met in so long.
All right, Ms. Jones,
Uh-huh.
Ms. Hodge,
Aye.
Mr. Coon,
Aye.
Mr. Gilly,
Aye.
Ms. Yinch,
Aye.
Mr. Hansard,
Aye.
and I will vote aye also. Got it on the wrong line here. All right, so that passes and that completes our action item agenda. So now we have items for discussion, and Ms. Jones, you want to lead off? You got,
Oh, I know one thing, that I know that we had a terrible tragedy at Hillsborough Elementary, and we need to keep that family in our prayers. And I think, does anyone know the services for the child?
I sent an email out
Yes.
about it.
Isn't it Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay.
died suddenly, yes.
I just know know that, you know, hopefully we'll have some representation at the school board there, because that's terrible for any family to go through.
Mr. Coon,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Gilly.
I want to mimic Miss Jones on the tragedy that we had with a student. I couldn't imagine, and I don't really want to, and my heart goes out. It's rough. I want to send a thank out to our counselors. This is, I think, Counselor Week, Appreciation Week. So I want to send that out there, thanking them. Look forward to hearing some of the reports here coming up. And then I do have one little thing, Mr. Chair, that I'd like to get out there that I'd like to,
Sure.
in the next available policy committee, I would like to bring up policy 6.701 and 2.404
6.701 and 2.404.
for a little bit of double checking and realigning and discussion with the policy committee.
Okay. Making notes here.
No, I think that's waiting on the next meeting.
All right. And Ms. Hodge, I skipped over you, so.
Well, I want to say congratulations to New Union. That is amazing, and I wish I could have been there to see your little faces. I couldn't see anything from my view, so congratulations. I need to thank Ms. Westmoreland and Mr. Damewood for their incredible patience with me this afternoon, getting me set up, because I'm not tech savvy at all, and they were both very nice to me the entire time, even though I know it had to be hard. And Ms. Garner actually gave me a list of all of our school counselors. So Robert, thank you for bringing that up, and I'm going to say their names. Marissa Judkins, Michelle Schiebel, Lacey Cody, Donna Jones, Emily Haston, Jonathan Adels, Lana Creek, Gina Cleek, Alicia Vaughn, Kelly Boyd, Amy Avey, Connie Heatherly, Stephanie Hubbard, and Elizabeth Price. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Trying to steal my thunder. Trying to steal my thunder.
His itch.
Yeah, it was particularly hard to hear about the child because we were at a beautiful breakfast at Hillsborough the day before, and just watching those kids running through the hallways, and it was just surreal to hear about one of them not being with us anymore. And so my heart does really go out to the family. Yeah, it was nice to see the school family pull together in that instance to support that family. It was really beautiful.
Mr. Hansard?
I'd like to say the same thing. Coming from someone that has lost a child, it is something that you do not want to wish on anyone. We come and live in a tremendous county that is very supportive, have been for the past 20 years. And to lose a child is something that I do not want to wish on anyone, especially in the school system. Them being in school, and it's very tough on their parents. I'd like to thank our counselors as well. I've reached out to a few of them that I know, and thank them very much for what they do. But that's it. I think that's it.
I'll extend my condolences also, yeah, because I was at that breakfast too, and it's kind of really hard to hear about that right afterwards. I'd also like to, extend my appreciation of the board members here. This is like our third meeting in like a little over a week here, and I know that Holly and Jennifer and Beth have been in more meetings than that in the past week and a half. So it's and we got a legislative and legal conference next week coming up, and then we're back here on Wednesday for a special called meeting. And we have at the end of the month, we have another work session. So it's a lot of stuff on our platter here. So I really, applaud the dedication of the school board members for showing up for these things too. Also, quick question, in our work session on the 28th, we discussed the cell phone policy, and and I would like to ask Mr. Hanser to track down some costs, because if we're going to do that, if we're going to implement that in the 25-26 school year, we're going to have to build some stuff into the budget for that. So I don't know what you'd need, Ms. Nelson, to squeeze that in there. I can see you laughing, but
How much and hope?
yeah, exactly. So, but if we're going to do it, then there's going to be some costs involved, and I think Mr. Hanser can probably track down some of those numbers and work with you on that. So is that okay, Dr. Powell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, because preliminarily, I have that on the agenda for the spring retreat in April, and then to look at policies, and then, then it would have to go to the policy committee, and then we'd have to adopt it for the coming school year. So if we decide to proceed with that, so it's going to require some work, and it's going to require some money. So that's kind of my piece here. So committee reports. We had some committees, 3 committees.
We met with the Excellence Committee, Ms. Tanya, and we feel like we got some stuff done with it. We feel like we could possibly come up with some workable solutions. And so she's hoping to present her findings and kind of an updated budget from what we're looking at coming up at a meeting very soon.
Okay.
We'll have to work it in to the schedule.
That's going to be on the February work session agenda, by the way. So
Okay.
it's kind of got that on there. So other committees, what else did we have meet?
There was a director search committee on
Right.
January the 21st.
That is correct. Yeah.
And there was also a safety committee that was on January the 29th. I could speak real quickly to the safety committee. I thought we had a really good turnout and good discussion throughout the entire meeting, and some good things came from the meeting.
Yeah. And the director search committee meeting, we mainly just worked on the contract, so it's kind of on me at this point to kind of pull everything together, and I appreciate Dr. Powell sharing that latest example, so, of a very recent contract. So we'll try to work that in.
Okay.
Student ambassador report, and then we'll go on to the director's report and the capital projects update. So, gentlemen?
Are we able to sit the mic over here?
The mic is, yeah, so, yeah, you can just come up and speak up there, so. So just introduce yourself and.
Yes, sir. My name is Lucas Turner. I'm the junior class president for the high school. And to start off, I want to talk about a few upcoming events for the high school, one of which is the Fine Arts Night, which will be Tuesday, February 25th. We'll have live art, which will include pottery, painting, and drawing. We'll have displayed artwork from high school students as well as Coffee County Middle School and Westwood Middle School. And it'll be for sale as well. And we'll have chorus and band performances and winter guard. And then touching on basketball, our season so far, both tend to be doing very well. We have a game at Columbia Central tonight. We play Warren County home at the Patch this Friday. And Lady Raiders at 6 p.m., Varsity Boys at 7:30, and it's a fundraiser for special games in Dusty Elam, and senior night is the 13th of February.
Wrestling had senior night last Tuesday. That was their last home match. Swim, our swimmers Elsie Lazalier, Jack Stowe, and Leonie Zank have qualified for state, and they'll be gone February 6th and 7th to swim at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And dance held the Dance Eras Tour Clinic last week. The Raiderettes brought out their campers for a performance at last Friday's basketball game. Now I'm going to hand over the mic.
Hello, my name is William Rogers, and I'm a junior class representative at the high school. And touching on boys soccer, practice started yesterday, and their first game will be held on February 20th at Middle Tennessee Christian. Baseball and softball, their practice has also started, and we're looking forward to their first games of the season. Baseball will be on March 3rd, and softball will be on March 6th. And one of our school clubs, DECA, 20 DECA members just returned from Orlando from the Sports and Entertainment Conference, where they learned about different sects of marketing and different jobs that can come from that. And next, from our student government and Renaissance sector, student government has been working on a rally to celebrate our students who have qualified for Renaissance cards. And this will take place on February 12th. The rally will include music, game station, snacks, and general fellowship for our students. And more about just the Renaissance program in general. It's a nationally recognized program, and it offers students a package of incentives to achieve better grades, to improve attendance, and to assist the school to become a better learning institution. Specific benefits are offered to the students in the program during the semester in which card is held. And we have 4 possible cards, and these all come with their own benefits. For example, we have a red card, which is given if the student has all A's, a black card if the student has all A's and B's, a silver card if the student maintains a 4.0 GPA or if they raise their GPA 0.5, and last, a white card, which is for perfect attendance and no office referrals. And some benefits that come with these cards are independent study days, half-off parking permits, free admission to games and dances, and T-shirts and drawings, entering into drawings at the Renaissance Rally. And next, Student Government and Beta Club have been working on a kindness project. We have not come up with a name for it yet, but it will take place the week before spring break, and during that week is St. Patrick's Day, so that's kind of the theme for it. And the idea is that students will be given an egg, staff and students will be given an egg, and you'll write a compliment on it, and then you'll gift that egg to someone else, just to spread general kindness to other people that need it at our school. And you can also purchase new eggs to spread more kindness throughout the school. And that's all. So thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming and sharing your evening with us. Oh. So next up, we have director's report, and I guess we're going to talk about
yes,
capital
sir.
projects too.
Several things here. We've been having a lot of meetings up here at the office. A textbook committee and the vendors met this past week to look at science adoptions, and I think it'll be on the next agenda. Or not, won't be on the next agenda. It'll be on the the March 10th agenda, I believe. The next agenda, the board meeting, will be on the 12th, and that's when y'all will be meeting with Dr. Grissom to determine what you want to put in the information sheet that she'll be giving out. But that committee has met. We had a safety meeting, as was mentioned early on. After-school program was a very good, I think, a very good meeting. We came to some conclusions or some things that we will submit to the board, I think, at the next board meeting that y'all can look at as possibilities. The instructional staff, the directors up here, supervisors, have been working very diligently with our principals and individual teachers, looking at test scores and things that we can be doing to improve instruction in our classroom. Tomorrow we have what we call a walkthrough, which will be we'll be one at North Coffee, and there'll be several. What we'll do is go from room to room or specific rooms and let individuals from other schools see what's going on in those classrooms. So that's what they call a walkthrough, and that will be taking place tomorrow. Next week, as Mr. Ballard mentioned, the legislative session for TSBA is Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning, and I think most of you are going to that. I will be leaving that meeting Tuesday afternoon and going downtown to a TOS legislative session, and it's probably going to be fairly interesting because there'll be a lot of discussion about the Freedom Act that was passed, and There's some things that our board's gonna have to consider, probably in the March meeting, I would think, concerning that. If you haven't seen all the final copies of it, I can get those to you if that's okay. I didn't have time today to get them to you, but I've got a summary of pretty much whatever, not the bill itself, but pretty much a summary of what came out of that meeting. Collaborative conferencing will start on the 22nd of February. We'll be meeting with the collaborative conferencing group for the school staff, and our administrators will be up here. That'll be on the 22nd. That'll be an introduction type meeting to kind of set the ground rules and things for that. And that will be coming to you folks probably in, I'd say, May or June.
Hopefully by the May meeting, yes, sir.
Do what?
Hopefully by the May meeting.
But you'll be hearing about that information. I want to give out a special thanks, and you've already mentioned that, some of you have, to Tanya. When the situation happened at Hillsborough on Saturday morning, I contacted Tanya. She'd already been contacted, and she took the lead on getting things set up for Monday, getting the counselors together, getting the staff together, working with that. She had, I think, some conversation with Miss Angela, and they'd worked up some strategies and so forth. I was out, I guess, around 10:30, 11 on Monday, and we still had some counselors there. A lot of them had left, but they had a large number of counselors there from the schools talking with the students, or were available if the students wanted to talk with them. So, Tanya, I certainly appreciate you taking the lead on it, and I think things seem to go, for the most part, very well under the circumstances. Funeral services for the young lady will be Thursday. I think you got that memo today from Melissa. Visitation is at 4 o'clock, and it's the Manchester Funeral Home, which is now across from the Raider Academy, and then the service is at 5 o'clock, and that's really all the information we have at this time about it. Our next board meeting is on the 12th, as I mentioned, and the one in March will be March the 10th. The SCOPE conference at Belmont on March the 11th, and Mr. Parsley's got students, I think, together, or getting together for the SCOPE conference. That's when they will go to Belmont University, and they become board members at that time. And when they get back, in probably the April meeting, we would like for them to present to you folks what they have done during those sessions. It's very interesting, and that's on March 11th at Belmont University in Nashville. Capital Projects Report, Mrs. April did give that to me a couple of days ago. I did not get a copy made for you folks. I would like to look at that at the work session if it's possible. It's about a 3 or 4 page report giving information about what's been spent, what's available, some of the projects that the Capital Outlay Committee came up with initially. So I would like to put that on the next work session agenda. I apologize for not having it to you tonight, but it wasn't very complicated, but there was a lot of information there that just to give to you without any kind of explanation, I don't think would do justice to it. So if you'll pardon me for that, I'd certainly appreciate it. It's been mentioned about putting our board minutes on our Facebook page. Mr. Damewood has talked with me about that. I've talked with Mr. Ballard about it, and I don't know whether that would be a decision that the board would want to make. Mr. Damewood said it would not be a problem to do that. It would get out to more individuals, of course, without having to go through the process and look on our webpage and what have you. So I guess he needs some feedback as to what y'all would want him to do on putting the board meetings on Facebook. But
what Dr. Powell, we're just talking about the link to the YouTube video on Facebook.
yes.
Just to be clear.
And then they could go to that link and see the board meetings. I think that's all I have, Mr. Ballard. 4 o'clock is your board meeting on Wednesday, the 12th, with Dr. Grissom. So that's a 4 o'clock meeting as opposed to a 5 o'clock meeting. Don't forget that. Okay. And work sessions on the 25th, and we'll go from there.
4 o'clock, yes. Any questions for Dr. Powell? Nope. All right. Then that is the end of the meeting, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Anybody second that?
Second.
Oh, okay, all right. I was gonna say the motion fails for like. All right, all in favor, stand up.